over the years. A look at the starting five for the Duke Blue Devils, and of course 4 of them are freshmen. For the second time in as many years, really, when Mike Krzyzewski starts 4 freshmen: Jones, Williamson, Barrett, Reddish, and then the upperclassman, the man in the middle, and Marquise Bolden. And for San Diego State, Jalen McDaniels is the headliner, but Devin Watson at the point, a very important guy. Matt Mitchell, strong, 6'6", 240. We'll find out very soon if he's the guy to match up on Williamson.
Well, Matt Mitchell's going to guard him right away. Not many people make Matt Mitchell look small, but Zion Williamson is one of them.
Reddish guarded by Jordan Shackle. Duke has played extremely unselfishly for the most part in their first 3 games, beating Army and Eastern Michigan after the win over Kentucky. Shot clock is down to 7. R.J. Barrett from the baseline, and down with the rebound is Devin Watson. And here come the Aztecs, looking to get out in a hurry, and they get the bucket on the follow by Mitchell.
Terrific job running the court. San Diego State is a very good defensive team. They're a gap defensive team. They're not going to extend. They want to make Duke into a jump shooting team.
Barrett for 3, the assist to Williamson. R.J. Barrett actually coming in as the #1 ranked recruit in the ESPN 100, the 18-year-old out of Mississauga, Ontario. And he and Williamson, as we mentioned, they have shared the ball at every opportunity in the first 3 games for the Blue Devils. McDaniels guarded by Williamson, and that pass deflected out of bounds.
R.J. Barrett is a lefty and a guy who can really run in transition. He gets to the rim. His shooting is not yet a strength along the lines of his transition game, his ability to get to the rim and to finish. He's an elite finisher. But when he does start knocking shots down with great consistency, you can't imagine how he's going to be guarded.
Yeah, interesting that Williamson's a lefty as well. So those 2 great freshmen are both left-handers, as Mitchell is fouled by Bolden. And this may be a tough team, at least this lineup that San Diego State has on the floor. This may be tough for Bolden to try to stay with whoever they decide to put him on.
Yeah, they're clearly, San Diego State was just trying to isolate Bolden, make him guard one-on-one. And here's another opportunity for Mitchell to drive him. He's telling Jalen McDaniels to get out of the way just so he can drive. Good defense there by Bolden.
Inside 10 to shoot, the ball in the hands of Watson, the senior point guard. He'll launch a deep one. And Trey Jones down with the rebound for Duke.
Devin Watson was a great scorer at the University of San Francisco in the West Coast Conference.
Zion Williamson for 3.
They wanted to make Duke into a jump shooting team, and R.J. Barrett and Zion Williamson both hit jump shots to start this game. Trey Jones, who is guarding the ball right now, he's guarding Devin Watson. He's really a key to this team because of the pressure that he can put on the ball.
And Williamson commits the foul out on the perimeter. San Diego State is smaller, but so far for Duke, as you said, they're great in transition. They're great around the rim. They've hit a couple of threes already in this one.
Well, Matt Mitchell just hanging back right there because he wants to take away everything from Williamson going to the basket. So Williamson just pulled up for the 3. And then Zion got caught in a switch. Wasn't really caught in it. They switched, knowing they could switch 1 through 4, but just put his arms out and 2 hands on the ball handler against Devin Watson.
Mitchell misses the left-handed runner, and back come the Blue Devils, led by Barrett.
This is where Duke's so dangerous in transition.
And a foul on the drive going against the Aztecs.
They get a missed shot, and they get the ball down court so quickly because any one of 4 guys can just rip and go. You get the rebound, you just go. It's not like you have to make an outlet pass. You know, Williamson can grab a rebound, bring it up. Obviously, Barrett can because he's got point guard skills. Cam Reddish can bring it up. Jones is the point guard. You know he can bring it up.
Jones, the younger brother of Tyus Jones, who was part of the national championship team 4 seasons ago. Tyus actually was the most outstanding player of the Final 4. How are Trey and Tyus different?
Well, they have different names.
Thank you.
Actually, Trey asked me, he said there's been some mistakes on the air, that he's been referred to as Tyus Jones's brother, when in fact, Tyus Jones is Trey Jones's brother.
I'll make a note. And this is after Duke won the national championship back in 2015.
I think Trey is a little bit stronger at this time in his career than Tyus was. Really good play. He's got to finish it.
Yeah, I thought McDaniels would go up and dunk that, but he tried to lay it in. And Reddish will get called for lowering the shoulder.
A nice job by Jordan Shackle to take that charge. Reddish did lower that right shoulder and bowled him over. Right there in legal guarding position and just thrust right into his chest. There wasn't much question about that call.
So some early fouls called on the Blue Devils, but on the strength of a couple of threes, they've got a 4-point lead.
1-2-2 3/4 court pressure for Duke, trying to take some time off the clock, maybe get a turnover. And almost did when Watson tried to go between two defenders.
Watson got Williamson in the air, and Williamson fortunate not to pick up his second foul right there.
I don't know why Watson didn't shoot that ball. He probably should have gotten a foul call anyway, but he should have shot it.
Boy, if they can get the second on Williamson, that would be huge for San Diego State this early. And look at this tough runner for McDaniels.
Perhaps a little unconventional, but a young man that's expanded his game. Jalen McDaniels is long and lanky. Went through the NBA draft process last year, came back.
Gavin DeLaurier down with a miss, forces it up off the glass, and Williamson has it knocked out of bounds. Good battles underneath, and it's going to the Aztecs.
Boy, it looked like Devin Watson knocked that ball away when Williamson brought it down. A little pick and pop, and Williamson did a good job of staying in front, but McDaniels just able to get around him just a tad and kiss that off the glass.
Good noise out of the San Diego State fans here in the early going. Watson the kick. McDaniels cut off. Mitchell can shoot the three. Off to Hemsley, who can shoot it as well.
A little bit of hesitation. Boy, too easy to get to the basket. Just missed it. You're not going to get an easier layup than that. It's almost like Hemsley was surprised that he was that open at the rim.
And more substitutions now for Duke in the early going as Jack White has come into the game, the junior from Australia, who really appears to have taken his game to another level so far this year.
He just brings a level of toughness and skill into the game. Goes after every loose ball, always alert on defense, sets great screens. Great rebound.
Yeah, Gavin DeLaurier running it down.
And that's what he has to do. Mike Krzyzewski said earlier this season that he wants him to concentrate on being a consistent double-figure rebounder.
Trey Jones makes it 8-4.
Duke's defensive schemes, they can really keep you off balance. They come with man-to-man. They can come with that 1-2-2 3/4 court pressure.
Timeout on the floor. To do. Still looks 21 years old.
Which you say about me all the time.
Only different.
Little horn set right now for San Diego State. San Diego State has had some opportunities at the rim to make shots. They just got to knock them down.
Hemsley corner three. Nice find by Watson.
And Jeremy Hemsley was coming off the bench last year after starting his first 2 years, and he scored over 1,000 points in his career. A really good player. He's got an unorthodox stroke, but he's consistent with that unorthodox stroke.
San Diego State playing out of the Mountain West Conference, picked second in that league this year behind Nevada as R.J. Barrett knocks down his second free of the game.
Well, if he's going to knock that shot down, there's not much you can do. You don't want to say, most shooters, you say, hey, make him put it on the floor. You make R.J. Barrett put it on the floor. That's when he's more dangerous.
Yeah, if his shot ever gets anywhere near the level of his driving ability, he's going to come. He's a problem already. He'll be a real problem.
The way these guys can attack the basket, if they can knock down consistent perimeter jumpers, forget it.
Nolan Narain called for over the back.
Little drive and kick here. Cam Reddish, who's got great skills. You just can't come off too far unless you can really stop the ball. You have to fake and recover. And on that possession, Jeremy Hemsley just came too far off and really overhelped there.
Zion Williamson back in, went out after picking up his first foul for a couple of minutes. Barrett the handoff. Jones.
As Duke keeps the floor spaced, it's really difficult to guard these guys.
Williamson driving and has it rejected. It'll stay with Duke, but a good job there by the combination of Shackle and McDaniels. And it takes a combination to slow this guy down in the paint.
Well, San Diego State is a very good defensive team. That was a really good job by McDaniels of second effort.
And make it in the rain, and McDaniels on the defense. Shot clock at 1 as Jack White buries a 3.
Standstill threes. And if Jack White comes into the ball game and spaces the floor and knocks down standstill threes, how valuable of a contributor is he?
Good defense by Williamson, and here it comes. The trailer is Jones, and that'll be an offensive foul. No basket on the play.
A really good recovery by San Diego State. First to keep Zion Williamson from getting to the rim, and then Shackle does a really nice job of standing in to take that charge. That's the second charge he's drawn in this game, and you know, Trey Jones just needs to pull up, take that short jumper or the floater. Shackle's from Torrance, California. It's not far from where I grew up. Went to Bishop Montgomery High School. Really good shooter. He's a worker.
Even little things, as we sat at their practice yesterday, every loose ball that was just rolling out of bounds, he was the one to go get it, fire it back to a manager, get it back and play, all the little things.
Yep. Three-quarter court pressure by Duke is really bothering San Diego State. They're not able to get into much of a rhythm.
And Watson, good call there. He just kind of held that ball on his hip for a bit and gets called for the carry. Ryan Dutcher, the head coach of the Aztecs, as you mentioned, a longtime assistant for Steve Fisher, both at Michigan and then for 18 years at San Diego State.
Brian Dutcher, his father, Jim Dutcher, was a longtime coach at the University of Minnesota. Very well-respected coach. And Brian worked for Lou Henson at Illinois, and then forever for Steve Fisher at both Michigan and here at San Diego State.
Wow, what a good job there by the Blue Devils. Double team on Williamson in the post, kick it to Barrett, extra pass to White, and Duke's knocked down 5 threes already in this game.
Well, it's a good passing team. That's a second foul on Zion Williamson. You don't want to pick it up that far from the, you don't want to pick it up period, but you don't want to pick it up that far from the basket. Double team inside, it's post to post, and Zion Williamson dribbles out of it, can see over the defense, and then drawing 2 defenders. He can't come off ever a corner shooter. You just cannot do it. And Jalen McDaniels did to try to stop that drive by R.J. Barrett. And instead of giving up a tough 2, they give up a wide open 3.
Williamson to the bench with his second foul. Now another turnover and a run out for the Blue Devils. Jones. And we have a foul call that will send Barrett to the free throw line.
Well, there wasn't much wrong with that break except for Cam Reddish on the right side needed to run harder. If he would have run harder, he could have had a layup as well.
And Reddish, and we don't know how much of a factor it is today. He has been bothered by kind of a nagging groin issue. It bothered him in the summer, came back a little bit. In the last game, only played 12 minutes in the game against Eastern Michigan as Barrett knocks down the first.
Yeah, by saying that, I'm not talking about his effort. It's more just the idea he could have gotten a basket there.
Right. Jones out, and the backup point guard, Jordan Goldwire, checks in now for the Blue Devils.
Sticking with this 1-2-2 three-quarter court pressure. And so far, San Diego State hasn't broken this to score. It's really taken a lot of time off the clock and doesn't give San Diego State as much time in the front court. They're really not getting into anything until about 15 seconds left on the clock.
At 12 right now, Shackle, corner 3, the assist to Watson.
Well, we talked about what a good shooter Jordan Shackle is, and he caught that ball in rhythm and launched it right away. Just off the simple little drive. And again, coming off a corner shooter, you just can't do it.
Good D by Mitchell on that baseline drive attempt by White. Golden called for it in the post, didn't get it. Spinning turnaround, Reddish. Yes.
How talented are these freshmen? And Cam Reddish has everything. He's got length. He's got skill. He's an excellent athlete. Deep range on his shot.
Yeah,
handles it like a guard. Yeah, and he's 6'8".
Get it off over anybody.
But he can't sing.
Watson with a very tough lay-in.
Devin Watson scored a ton of points at the University of San Francisco before he transferred here to San Diego State. The scoring point guard.
20 points per game 2 years ago in his final year there. Barrett out of the perimeter. Guarded by Hemsley. Now Goldwire.
Cam Reddish working off screens inside.
Goldwire will put up a three.
Good fake.
Bolden creates a little space with the elbow and lays it in.
On Duke's trip to Canada, Blue Devils played 3 games, and I think it was 39 minutes that Marquise Bolden played, and he didn't score. Really didn't play well, but since this season has started, he's given really good minutes to Duke. He's really done a nice job.
Mitchell, nice patience. He looks like a football player, and he's got some brute force in his game, but he's got a lot of finesse in his game as well.
Yeah, he's just a sophomore. He's from Riverside, California. Last year led San Diego State in steals.
How about that? A little step back three there, and he whooped a little bit at Shackle after the fact. Another three, this time for Reddish.
Yeah, a little bit of talking after that, but boy, if you can do that, it's okay to talk. Beautiful step back move.
How about 6 for 7 from three-point range for the Blue Devils? Hemsley, I mean, just forcing his way in there.
Right now, San Diego State trading 2s for 3s. Yeah, when your game plan is to make Duke into a jump shooting team and they knock down 6 or 7 from 3, what do you do?
Barrett will try one.
Good box out.
Mitchell trying to go coast to coast and turns it over. Long stretch without a whistle. Got a timeout on the floor. Cam Reddish fresh off that three. We'll take it to another level. Going 94 feet with a Illustrator on the other side.
Hope his feet don't get cold.
This ladder is
94 feet with Duke's Cam Reddish. Who's the best athlete ever from Norristown, Pennsylvania?
Kyrie Williams.
You're not going to put yourself up on that list?
Nah.
All right, who's the best athlete ever from Apple Valley, Minnesota?
Tyus Jones.
All right, what's your favorite thing to eat?
Pepperoni pizza.
Favorite breakfast cereal when you were a kid?
Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
What do you do outside of basketball?
I like to play video games.
What's your favorite video game?
Call of Duty.
Are you the best one at it?
No, not even close.
Who's the best?
Probably Trey.
All right, how often did you go to the beach growing up?
Not that often.
Yeah. When you went to the beach, did you wear white socks?
Never.
Never?
Never.
Why are you wearing white socks now?
So I have more. That's how I came.
You're going to have a talking to by the equipment guy. All right, what is your goal for this season?
Win a national championship.
All right, we end it right there, 94 feet. Cam Reddish. White socks.
Yes, sir.
Pepperoni pizza, Cinnamon Toast Crunch, video games, and White Sox on the beach? Which of these things doesn't belong here?
Well, he also wouldn't claim himself in any of those answers, but Trey Jones was standing right there. That's why he gave it the old Tyus Jones from Apple Valley, Minnesota. A little goofing on one another there.
You know, Zion Williamson and R.J. Barrett have both gotten so much attention, and they're enormous talents. Cam Reddish, if this is possible, has almost been kind of under-publicized as a top 5 incoming recruit, a top 5 mock draft guy, but there are so many highly thought of recruits on this team. They got to share the spotlight. What a rebound by Delorier.
And Matt Mitchell gets that rebound the overwhelming majority of the time when he plays, but couldn't get it on that one.
McDaniels and a foul on Reddish. Second on Cam Reddish.
When San Diego State is able to get a stop, they can get out and run. But getting stops has proven difficult thus far in the ball game.
Interesting choices now for Mike Krzyzewski. Zion Williamson's already on the bench with 2. Reddish will be coming out. You see White getting ready to check back in. Feast week is upon us, and Thursday it's the beginning of the Advocare Invitational from the ESPN-wide Woodle Sports Complex in Orlando, beginning with Villanova and Canisius at 1:30 Eastern Time on ESPN2. LSU and Florida State also in the field, good-looking field down in Orlando.
Do you know the mascot of Canisius?
The Golden Griffin?
The Golden Griffin.
Hey.
Very nice. Very nice.
Well, I live in proximity to Buffalo. Jones knocked away. Nathan Mensah with the rejection for San Diego State. Hemsley open for 3. And down to Delorier.
But seemed like all 5 Duke players were on the defensive glass.
Hemsley was not going to let Delorier get an open look at a jam right there.
That was a really good rebounding sequence for Duke to have that many guys. I mean, nobody was taken off early. They were all there to make sure they secured the defensive rebound before the possession was over.
And at the line, Delorier. So much talk about the freshman. What does Mike Krzyzewski need out of Delorier, White, Bolden, those guys, for Duke to be the team they want to be this year?
Well, primarily they need defense and rebounding and setting screens and being available. You know, this is you're not expecting, even though Javin Delorier has improved his shooting, can knock down perimeter shots when he's open. You're not looking for any of those guys to be your primary scorers, but when the ball comes their way, to be aggressive and knock it down. And especially Jack White, because he's such a good perimeter shooter. He's going to have a lot of standstill jumpers if Duke moves the ball, because there's so much defensive attention going to R.J. Barrett and Zion Williamson and Cam Reddish. You know, and this is in a first half where Zion Williamson has barely played, and they're still up 11.
Alex O'Connell in the game for Duke as well. Sophomore, terrific shooter. Has made 50% of his career threes. McDaniels driving on O'Connell. And a travel called on Hemsley. Kind of got between a pass and a drive right there.
Well, he had Watson in the corner. He could have just shot it right away because he was wide open. But take the shot or shot fake and kick it to Devin Watson in the corner. And they reversed the ball and got what they wanted, which was 2-on-1 on the backside. They just didn't take advantage of it. Yeah, good job by Hemsley to jump in front on a dribble handoff action.
And really hounding Barrett on the perimeter. Jones lays it up, too strong. And another Duke foul, this one on Delorier.
That was the kind of defense you see often from San Diego State. Just gritty, get down and guard you, help, recover, and contest everything. I mean, this has not been easy for the Aztecs, but they have really hung in there.
NCAA tournament team last year, lost in the first round to Houston. Of course, Kawhi Leonard played for the Aztecs for a couple of years back in 2009 through 2011. And you go back further than that, one of their most famous alums, and he wound up being a Hall of Famer in baseball, but Tony Gwynn was an outstanding basketball player at San Diego State.
Still at the top of their all-time assists for Tony Gwynn. Tony Gwynn went to Long Beach Poly High School. His brother Chris was an outstanding basketball player and baseball player as well. San Diego State's had a bunch of good players. Yeah. Michael Cage went to San Diego State. Brandon Heath. I played on the national team one year with a guy named Anthony Watson, who was a great player.
And back down to single digits. San Diego State down by 9 with a couple of Blue Devil starters on the bench with 2 fouls.
1-4 low. He's trying to post R.J. Barrett. Barrett started in the corner, and as soon as Bolden came up, he just came in and posted right in the middle of the lane. Hard to guard.
Timeout on the floor. Duke up by 9. Opening round action at the Maui. Acting lessons paid off for me back in the day. What are you doing, Doug? You're snooping on me with the snoop cam.
Dan's
taking
trying to get
a picture of my kid across the court.
Yeah, sure thing.
Whereas Jay is just admiring himself in his phone. Turned the camera around to face himself.
I'm wondering what I should say for at my Oscar speech after that acting performance. That was fantastic. And how many people are going to get the Brady Bunch reference of old Mr. Hanalei?
Here's the sad part. That was the 3rd take of that bit. You should have seen 1 and 2.
Jack White with another big play.
And Zion Williamson back in with 2 fouls.
Yeah, that's one of the interesting things. A lot of coaches will keep a player out with 2 fouls in the first half because they're worried about him picking up a 3rd. And Mike Krzyzewski's always felt like, well, then you're playing defense on your own best player. And what happens if he picks up the 3rd? Then he can take him out then.
Mitchell finds Watson. And Watson heaves a deep one. Rejection by Zion Williamson.
Oh, he's so quick. Quick off the floor. Nathan Mensah should have shot that quicker, but still.
And no basket. Zion Williamson went up to crash the glass after that miss. Let's take a look at the other end.
Usually Mensah's going to be able to get that to go against most defenders, but Williamson at 285 is just so quick off the floor and so explosive. I mean, when we were watching him in Canada, that to me, I don't know about you, but that to me was the hardest thing to wrap my head around. You know, you've seen ultra quick, ultra explosive players, but not in that kind of package. It doesn't seem like a guy that big should be able to move with the agility and nimbleness of feet that Zion Williamson has. It's really kind of amazing.
If somebody told you a guy is 6'7", 280, you'd figure he's a big, huge, back to the basket, you know, maybe a bit of a plotter out on the court, and Williamson is anything but.
And I haven't seen anybody take a charge on him yet.
Nor will you.
Yeah, well, it's not just because they're afraid of it, but just he's able to get around people.
Right. Only one player in the NBA last season, Boban Marjanovic, listed as heavier than Zion Williamson. He's 7'3", whereas Zion is 6'7". And we're told Williamson now is actually he's closer to 275 than 285 for what it's worth. But, I mean, he's still, like, if you told me this guy's an NFL tight end right now, I'd believe it in a heartbeat. Just look at it.
I think he could be one. Who would tackle him?
Somebody who had a lot of friends. You wouldn't do it alone.
Somebody who had help.
Yeah.
Sticking with this 1-2-2 3/4 court pressure. I think San Diego State's got to break this to score.
Well, Shackle with an air ball from the three. They did a nice job getting a good look there.
You know, the issue for San Diego State isn't, hey, can they guard? They can guard people. Can they score enough points?
Wow, and Golden all over the back of Shackle as he picks up his second foul.
This is not an easy game to play in. You know, San Diego State is used to being there on the catch and being physical and being in the right spots, even though San Diego State is a young team. You know, they're mostly freshmen and sophomores as well. They have Jeremy Hemsley and Devin Watson, who are older players, but most of their other guys are younger.
Ryan Dutcher will work in these freshmen over the course of the season. We've already seen Nathan Mensah in this game, a guy who figures to have a pretty big role for them, and Shackle knocks it down. He's just a sophomore, as you mentioned.
Shackle knocked down 27 threes last year. He's coming off a game against Texas Southern. He had 16 points and 7 boards.
Can they challenge Nevada in the league? Nevada's so good this year. They got so much back.
Can they challenge Nevada? Yes, they're capable of beating Nevada, but Nevada's the best team. And as Jordan Brown, the freshman phenom at Nevada, really starts to learn how to play, and primarily he's going to have to learn the defense, how to guard ball screens, how to play harder all the time, which is a big adjustment for any freshman. You know, Nevada's going to keep getting better.
Barrett step back, short. And Barrett slow to get up. Went down, got up, slipped. Numbers for the Aztecs. Williamson the save, and it's Duke ball.
Going back against 4 defenders, San Diego State does a pretty good job of getting back.
The Blue Devils have missed their last 7 attempts from the field, and this one's going to go against McDaniels of the Aztecs.
Yeah, McDaniels just going after the ball. Looked like he put out that left arm a little bit. And Tim Kelly right on top of it. Just going after the loose ball. Yeah, he looked like he might have grabbed his arm just a tad there. So watch his left arm. You can't really see it there, but it looked like he had his arm wrapped on the inside of Zion Williamson's. It wasn't quite a hook and hold, but just enough to pick up a loose ball foul, essentially.
And 1-1. Blue Devils with that 34-point win over Kentucky to start the regular season. And then in their second game, though, Jay, Army gave them a battle. Army was in contact with Duke well into the second half. The Eastern Michigan game was more of a blowout, but they got a little bit of a test from Army. They saw zone from Eastern Michigan, and obviously in this tournament they're going to get a real test over 3 days.
Yeah, and I think they'll see a good bit of zone throughout the course of the year, just to make them prove it over the top.
Watson with a shot fake, couldn't get by White though.
And he does have an excellent shot fake that he uses quite a bit.
Now the drive and kick. Mitchell's got a good look at a 3. Shackle had it and then had it taken away by Barrett. Delorier off to Jones. Still lots of time.
Good move. Wow.
And that's going to count.
Boy, he just jabbed to his left and he was gone right. What a beautiful move. Crossover. Man, that was big time. He got it to finish as well. He got hit like 3 times. The foul might have come on the floor, but there was even contact when he went for the shot.
Number 2 on Shackle forces him to the bench, and we get our first look at Adam Seiko, a redshirt freshman from Boston, coming into the game now for the Aztecs.
Adam Seiko went to Sierra Canyon High School in California and was a teammate of Marvin Bagley III.
Wow. And at the line is Jones. You talked about it, how important he is. He's not going to have the numbers of the other 3 guys. Different kind of player, gets them involved, but in many ways just as important as the other 3 guys.
Yeah, just he's going to be setting the table for everybody.
Mitchell hangs and draws the foul. Mitchell, a guy who originally committed to Cal State Fullerton, but then had a big senior year in high school and wound up opening up his commitment again and went to San Diego State.
He's coming off a 21-point game against Texas Southern. He just got a good understanding of how to play.
Second game here with the Maui Gym Maui Invitational, which continues tonight. If you weren't with us earlier today, what a game we had in the opener, as Xavier fought back from a 12-point deficit to force overtime, only to see Jared Harper and Auburn pull away in the extra session, winning 88-79. The Tigers get the winner of this game. Bottom half of the draw, Arizona and Iowa State, and Gonzaga and Illinois, with Jason Benetti and Bill Walton bringing you those games later on this evening.
Well, Jared Harper was terrific, and that dunk he had late in the game off that little flat screen was really impressive for a guy 5'11" to rise up like that. Chris Clemens of Campbell had a dunk almost as impressive. Great back cut.
And Antonio Brankovic, who just checked into the game with a beautiful bounce pass for the assist.
Just a little dribble at. And oftentimes, anytime you dribble at another player, the best thing to do is back cut. There's an open floor, and that's really hard to guard. A switch with Brankovic now on Mitchell.
That's a tough cover for him, trying to stay with Mitchell on the perimeter.
Brankovic from Zagreb, Croatia. He does a nice job of being a presence inside when he comes into the game. That was obviously a great pass. And a senior, really been a leader, president of the old Trinity Club.
And this is where Coach K, he can have a Bolden or a Brankovic in the game to have a true big, or he can have Williamson as the 5 or Delorier as the 5, and they don't use the terms 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Coach K favors positionalist basketball, not stereotyping guys into one position, as many coaches do these days. But he could put all sorts of different lineups out there.
Yeah, really the numbering is more a function of who you guard these days. Duke plays 5-out motion, and they do have set play calls that they use. They have different guys that can bring it up every time. I mean, Cam Reddish bringing it up now. And so all of a sudden you got Matt Mitchell basically guarding as a defensive point guard. That puts defenders in different spots on the floor that they're not used to being in.
Foul on Seiko will send Barrett back to the line. And R.J. Barrett, as McConnell gets set to check back in, R.J. Barrett seems to have the ability, Jay, to draw a foul just about every time he puts the ball on the floor.
Yeah, he is really good with the ball. And he's got great second jump, just reactive off the floor. I guess that happens when your godfather is Steve Nash.
His dad, Rowan, who's here, was a terrific player at St. John's, played overseas. As Jay mentioned, his godfather was Steve Nash. Barrett, in a game that he played against Cam Reddish, led Canada to a win over the U.S. at the Under-19 championship in Cairo back the summer before last. 38 points, 13 rebounds.
U.S. team coached by John Calipari. Yep. He's seen a lot of R.J. Barrett, recruited him. And
McDaniel spinning and hitting. Nicely done.
You can see that's the middle game that Jalen McDaniels has. He's going to keep getting better and better. I mean, he doesn't even weigh 200 pounds. So.
They're trying to put some weight on him. They can't figure out how. Even I could give them some ideas. We put on some since we got here.
Wants to hang out with us.
Yeah. Jones for three. Yes.
Boy, just any dribble penetration, if you help off, there's an opportunity for a wide open shot. Standstill threes are going to be a big deal for Duke this year.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Lowe's. Hurry in today for huge Black Friday savings. And Courtyard by Marriott, the official host.
Cam Reddish has the same diet I have. In 94 feet, pepperoni pizza and cinnamon toast crunchies.
And white socks on the beach.
Well, look at what the freshmen have done today. As the four freshmen have combined for 30 of the 40 Duke points.
I think J-Well is totally overlooking good skin care. You like to stay out of the sun, wear sunscreen, big hat.
Nice look from McDaniels, and Seiko knocks down a three.
Boy, Adam Seiko is really a glue guy. He can stay in front on defense. Just a solid complementary player.
White from the corner.
That was a contested three. That was better off a shot fake, maybe a drive or a pass.
Barrett 3 feet behind the line.
The foul on Brankovic. If he and Narain were really jostling down low, it was a good block out. Brankovic tried to knock the ball back out for maybe somebody to grab it right around the three-point line. And it just came over the top. That was a good block out. Two guys going after the ball hard. That's one as a big guy always drove you crazy when you're. He wasn't going for the rebound as much, trying to knock it out.
Brankovic becoming the 5th different Blue Devil to pick up his 2nd foul here in the first half. So Mike Krzyzewski keeps 7 guys in and out, trying to hope that nobody picks up his 3rd. Williamson has sat on a number of occasions because of that. And a couple of misses.
Duke gets the ball down court quickly. Poor pass by Cam Reddish, and then an equally bad pass by San Diego State to just give it away.
And McDaniels was racing up the floor, was not looking back expecting a pass.
And Roger Ayers trying to stay out of the way there. Hope he's okay. He took a little spill. He didn't fall, but he sort of slipped.
Look at the game along with Tim Kelly and Paul Sells here in the 2nd game in a mound.
Tim Kelly's special significance for him in this game. It's his 16th wedding anniversary this week. He was here 16 years ago on his honeymoon, and he was a high school official. One of the officials here went down, and Hank Nichols, the supervisor of officials here, called him and said, "Suit up, we need you." And it started an excellent career in college officiating. I don't think his new wife was that happy about it.
Shot clock at 8. Barrett thought about it, pulls up from 16.
Well, he's got game, doesn't he? He's so good at so many things. You're trying to find something he doesn't do as well. And you say, well, he's not a great shooter, but when he goes straight up and down and he's on balance, he makes shots. And he's going to be a really good shooter.
One of the things that happened, I think, in the games we did in Canada is, you look at halftime or look at the end of the game, you say, yeah, he's having an okay game, he's doing this, he's doing that, and then you look at the end of the game, he had 33 points and 9 rebounds and 5 assists, and he can sneak up on you quietly with some pretty big numbers by the end of the game.
Well, and he had to put up numbers because they were without Trey Jones and Cam Reddish. And just getting a little screen here from Javon DeLaurier, and forcing Mensah to step up and try to put some pressure on the shot, but he just rose straight up. Everything was completely in rhythm. How about that last drive by Matt Mitchell? Pretty good body control when he went up and drew that foul on DeLaurier.
Yeah, sometimes they play him a little bit more on the perimeter, sometimes a little bit more in the post, depending on who else is on the floor at the time, as Rankovic comes back in for Delorier.
And the foul situation for Duke has shown that, you know, Mike Krzyzewski can go deeper into his bench than maybe some of us might have thought at the beginning.
There's number 3 on Delorier while he came out. He's got 3, 4 other Blue Devils each with 2, but they've got an 11-point lead. Jones finds Reddish, 10 to shoot. Look at this matchup. Yep.
He can get a shot.
Barrett and McDaniels in a terrific matchup of tremendous athletes. And behind the play, we got a foul on Mitchell, and he is furious right now. Got to be careful he doesn't get teed up.
That was after the play, and they're saying he just rode Rankovic out.
Kind of rear-ended him out of the way. Got underneath him and backed up a step or two. That's the call. He fell on me, is what Mitchell is saying.
Well, that's kind of the argument that guys would make is, wait a minute, I'm blocking out, and the other guy jumped. You know, it's just physics. But the physics argument with referees doesn't work very well. Yeah, now they have to look at it to make sure it wasn't some sort of flagrant or hook and hold or anything like that. That strikes me as just a basketball play, but there's been a greater sensitivity to things this year to make sure that, you know, it's not flagrant 1, flagrant 2, that there's not some sort of, you know, player's not in a vulnerable position. But yeah, I don't know what. It didn't look like that was much of an undercut there. This just seemed like it was a basketball play. I'm not going to argue whether it was a foul or not, but Mitchell was blocking out. Rankovic jumped. And so, like, what's the guy supposed to do? Now, I'd be shocked if this were a flagrant, but, you know, sort of predicting the way this is going now is really hard to do. Like, what's he supposed to do? Now, if you're saying and they're not going to call anything more than just a regular foul, but.
So they looked at it, no flagrant. It remains a common foul on Mitchell, and double bonus, it'll be 2 free throws for Rankovic.
It's interesting that the monitor use. I had somebody tell me recently that's a higher up in basketball that they had talked to people in other sports, and everybody in another sport said no matter what you do, don't allow expansion of replay. You'll never get it back. And
meaning once it's in, you can't
once it's in, you can't take it back. And we've got so many things we're looking at on replay now. And I'm not saying it's wrong. Everybody wants to get it right, but it takes an extraordinary amount of time. And it kind of takes the air out of the building in a lot of occasions. And I don't know the right answer, but more replay isn't the right answer. Better get it across.
Final minute of the first half. Duke up a dozen on the Aztecs. Watson driving on Jones.
Good job by Jones to stay in front.
And 3-second call going against San Diego State.
That was just good defense to stay in front, make Watson make a shot over you. And he refused to take the shot. If it weren't a walk, it could have been a 3-second violation. The first, what would you call the first half for Duke? I would say it's been methodical.
Yeah. I think they've constantly been subbing in and out because of foul trouble, so a little choppy here and there.
But methodical in a good way. Like it hasn't been their tempo, and still they put up 46 points.
Right. And they've knocked down 8 threes. They started off incredibly hot. Started off 6 out of 7. They're now 8 out of 16 from beyond the arc.
And San Diego State is a good defensive team.
Nathan Mensah, one of the freshmen, turnaround no, and Rankovic got his left forearm or elbow up in the face of McDaniels, and it wouldn't surprise me, Jay, if they had a look at this one.
I don't think they will. It wasn't a hook and hold variety. Unless somebody says, hey, you know, he hit me in the head. He did hit him in the head.
He did, yeah. He got the left arm up above the neck, and that's
they've got
the typical one they look at. Actually,
but Ed Corbett is over there as the alternate. He can tell him, hey, take a look at this, and he's not doing it. He's not saying anything. He's got a monitor over there.
So Rankovic picks up his third. He and Delorier now each with 3.
Dwayne, you're right, though. You know, when there is contact, there's such a sensitivity now for anything near the head.
And a 30-second timeout taken by Duke. They get the ball up 14 with a chance to set up for the last shot of the half. Fisher, who coached here for San Diego State. They got to the championship game back in 2014 before losing to Arizona.
I love Maui. I love the banyan tree. There are 80 beaches in Maui, Dan. It is Dan, isn't it?
It is Dan. Barrett. Reddish. Got it. How about that?
Doesn't need much space, does he? Doesn't need much time or much space. 49 points in the first half in a game where San Diego State basically got its tempo. 9 of 7. A team you wanted to turn into a jump shooting team hit 9 of 17 from 3.
And they've got their largest lead of the half at the half. 49-32. Led by a team high 16 with RJ Barrett, including some threes for him. Let's go back to the studio now for the E-Trade halftime report.
A bunch of guys in white socks on the beach.
Thank you, guys.
In the first half, where San Diego State, you'd have to say, had its tempo in the ball game, and it wasn't a crazy up and down tempo. Duke still put up 49 points. I mean, they shot the ball extraordinarily well from 3, made 9 threes out of 17, I think it was, in the first half. But that was a smooth 16 points by RJ Barrett. It didn't seem like he was necessarily taking the game over, but he wound up with 16 points, 4 assists, no turnovers. And you know, how good is Cam Reddish? He's good right now. He's going to be even better.
Barrett with 16 to lead Duke, and Mitchell with 9 to lead San Diego State. Reddish, again, a spin and a step back. High degree of difficulty, can't knock it down. Here come the Aztecs. Hemsley, right over Barrett, lays it up and in.
You know, at halftime, San Diego State talked about making a run based upon its defense first, and that was getting a stop and taking it the other way to get an easy basket. But I think San Diego State's got to try to score more off the first option. Terrific double team. There are 2 double teams in a row. Zion Williamson passed out of the first one, couldn't get it out of the second one.
McDaniels and a foul and one. A great start here in the second half for San Diego State.
And it's come off the defense. The double teams on Zion Williamson in the low post. First one he passed over the top. Second one it was deflected and stolen. And RJ Barrett going up off that little shot fake by Jalen McDaniels, and McDaniels keeps his head up as he goes up. Never took his eyes off the rim.
Offensive rebound on the missed free throw. Hemsley, nice look. Mitchell.
He needed to take that.
Watson with that shot fake again. Oh, what a rebound. Williamson just going over the top of McDaniels, which is hard to do. Jones, left hand.
Boy, just went right into the defender with his right shoulder, knocked him back.
And now it's an up and down affair after the McDaniels miss. Numbers for Duke. Jones open for 3.
That's the tempo that Duke wants to play at. How fast did they get the ball down the court?
And it's back up to 18. 10 made threes for the Blue Devils in this game. And nearly turned over, knocked out of bounds by Barrett.
Ray Jones taking the ball to the basket. Watch what he does. Just goes into the chest of Jeremy Hemsley and then is able to get it to go with the little scoop shot with the left hand.
Shackled to McDaniels. And Barrett another rebound, and here they come again.
Rip and go. Whoever gets it can take it unless it's the 5. You almost can't get back fast enough because you're used to an outlet pass being made, then you pick up the point guard. You know, there's nothing slow about this fast break because whoever gets it can take it the other way. It's, as long as it's not Marquise Bolden, everybody else can just rip and go. I don't think it's a good health move to chest bump Zion Williamson.
There's no such thing as a friendly with Zion
it just
Williamson.
doesn't. It just doesn't seem like that's overall for your general physical well-being. You know, that's a smart move.
This quartet of freshmen, they kind of became buddies before they started committing. Had a group text chat, and one by one started committing. Jones the first. Hemsley switches hands, had to adjust, and Bolden is called for the foul. The winner of this game is going to take on the Auburn Tigers in a semifinal tomorrow. Auburn defeating Xavier in overtime, 88-79 in the first game.
Not a lot of shots made in the first half of that Xavier-Auburn game, but the second half was, how well played was that game? That was really fun.
With great pace and intensity throughout. Jeremy Hemsley at the line for San Diego State.
Hemsley's an interesting player. He's a senior. He's had a really good career, but he had what he would call a tough year last year. He came off the bench. You know, he played behind Trey Kell and Devin Watson, a very experienced backcourt. And it was hard on him to come off the bench. It didn't really work at first, but he battled through it, and now back as a starter. I think his confidence has really come back.
Reddish in the post right now, spinning on Shackle. And Williamson and one.
You can put, Coach K can move players all around like a bunch of queens on a chessboard. They can do just about everything. You can isolate Cam Reddish in the post. He got doubled. He got caught along the baseline and winds up giving it up to Zion Williamson. But you would have thought that he could go right over Shackle and knock him over and bowl him over, but he gets by people. That's really kind of the interesting thing of his athleticism and how nimble he is. It's hard to wrap your head around.
Third foul on Shackle moments ago, and now the third foul on R.J. Barrett reaching in.
I think, Dan, there's been a lot of people who have, perhaps maybe I wasn't clear or misunderstood when I say there's never been a player in basketball like Zion Williamson. Doesn't mean I think he's the best player I've ever seen, or he will be the best player. He's not as good as LeBron James, but there's never been this kind of package of size, explosive athleticism, skill, at that weight. It's really hard. It's hard to fathom.
And it's impossible to come up with a comp, to come up with a guy who has
in every area.
In every area. That player just doesn't exist. Reddish forces the issue, and McDaniels commits the foul.
You would have to say, okay, well, if Lawrence Taylor was really good at basketball, that's who you'd say it would be. Or, back when Julius Peppers played. Julius Peppers was a terrific basketball player. He wasn't like this.
I mean, the story's been told about the vertical leap for Williamson. They had, the pole with the plastic.
The vertical leap.
And he jumped too high for it to.
They had to make it higher.
They had to put it up on a stand or something so they could calculate his vertical leap. And the guy weighs 280 pounds.
They had to put like weight plates under it to raise it up a couple more inches because he out-jumped the machine.
Largest lead of the game now for Duke. San Diego State had a great first minute here in the second half. Scored the first two baskets, but it's been all Duke ever since. Good help by Bolden. Wide open three on the weak side, though, and knocking it down is Watson.
Devin Watson's a nice player. San Diego State's going to get better and better as the season goes along.
Reddish. Ball wasn't in his hands very long. Quick release, but he missed the three. And Watson called for the reach-in foul. Looked like he might have just slapped the ball away, but he gets whistled.
After Duke's performance, take a look at Zion Williamson going up. Yeah, that was just a bad angle to be going after the ball when the official's behind you. There's no foul there. But, after Duke took apart Kentucky in the Champions Classic, they were the talk of the sports world for a couple of days, and that's one of the reasons why. I mean, that's the guy who you were noting may have been under-publicized.
Right, yeah.
Cam Reddish. But there was some talk that maybe Duke could beat the Cleveland Cavaliers or something like that, which I don't think is even a discussion point. But
Watson again.
How they would do what I think is a great barroom discussion is how this Duke team would have done against the Fab Five back in '91-92. That would be a heck of an interesting game.
What do you think?
I think it'd be a contest. I mean, that Michigan team lost 9 games that year.
That bucket is going to count.
I don't want to make this connection, but everybody that's done 94 feet is killing it in the Maui Invitational. I'm just saying.
They're going to be lining up to do it with you. They are. As we mentioned earlier, Brian Dutcher worked a long time under Steve Fisher. First in Michigan before San Diego State. He was part of the coaching staff and one of the guys who recruited the Fab Five, that outstanding quintet of freshmen that spent a couple of years at Michigan and making it to a couple of national championship games. Was Coach Dutcher. Weber, Howard, Rose, King, Jackson, Barrett, Williamson, Reddish, Jones, Joey Baker, maybe a redshirt candidate. But if you had a little pickup game, 5-on-5, who'd win?
Well, the hard part in making this comparison, one time, I get it's a long time ago, the game was different. But, you know, you tend to, with the older team, take into account what they became later. Do you remember what Chris Webber shot from the free throw line his freshman year in college?
No, sir.
He shot 50%. And, you know, look, this Duke team, I don't know if they'd win, but they'd be pretty darn close.
Chris Webber has made the point that back in those days, because players didn't come out early very much at all, that they were playing against older players and a higher caliber of competition than these players are playing against.
Older guys
today.
always say that. They always say that. And it's amazing to me that, you know, they would not listen to that argument if we said, well, the teams in the 70s were better than you guys, Chris Webber, or you know, they would never listen to that. Yeah. And I get it. Look, but that's an argument for us old guys that when we're, you know, and having a drink at the bar at the golf course to talk about how great we used to be. And I'm not putting myself in that. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying your era, how great your era was. But, you know, there's no way you would get the guys in the Fab Five to say that the players in the 60s were better than they were. They'd never even listen to it.
R.J. Barrett, his fourth. Less than 5 minutes into the second half. He's got a game-high 19. Well, if nothing else, as you alluded to in the first half, this is forcing Mike Krzyzewski to go a little bit deeper, use some different lineups, and find out what kind of combinations work for this team. They all seem to work pretty well. So.
Everything works, but you know, it's not. This isn't the only test. So if this happens against a team that can score a little bit easier than San Diego State can score, and San Diego State is good. I mean, you have to play well to have a 21-point lead on San Diego State, and Duke is playing well. But you wouldn't want to have this kind of foul trouble in a different kind of game.
We've had a ton of fouls here in the second half. We're 5 minutes in. And each team has already committed 5 fouls here in the second half.
And it's not like we've had bad calls. We haven't. I mean, these have been fouls.
So some of the members of the coaching staff for Duke, all 4 of them, well, first of all, played at Duke, but all 4 of them played here in the Maui Invitational during their careers. Nate James, Chris Carrawell, John Shire, Nolan Smith. Delorier, good position. Williamson follows it. The ability to get off the floor a second time that quickly for a guy his size.
So it looked like he got hit on the first one, and that second jump to get off the floor, and that rebound wasn't necessarily in the area of his first shot. He had to move to get that rebound out of his area.
Corner 3, Hemsley too strong, and Reddish down with a rebound.
Good pass. Wow.
Jones ahead to White. The ball never hit the court.
That was beautiful. What a spectacular pass from Trey Jones.
Rebound.
Terrific outlet, but to the sideline, and a bullet to Jack White. He not only can surf, he can run the floor and lay it in.
Use it, and here's a look at the bracket. In the Maui Gym Maui Invitational, Auburn has advanced. They'll play the winner of this game, and Duke's up 25 right now. So if things keep going as they're going, sets up a pretty interesting early season matchup. And Bill Walton will overcome the Munchies and be here with Jason Benetti for the 2 games later on tonight.
The question is, will Jason Benetti overcome Bill Walton?
Many have tried. If Dave Pasch will be watching those games just
laughing.
So he can share the experience a little bit with Jason.
Like an MMA fighter watching somebody else in the octagon.
5 to shoot. And a foul committed by Delorier.
One of the interesting things about Duke defensively, remember last year they went mostly zone toward the end of the season because they were a lot bigger. They had a harder time guarding the three-point line, guarding ball screens. That alleviated that for them. And they turned into, toward the middle end of the season, a very good defensive team playing out of that zone. But this team, look out.
Get out of the way, Jay.
Doesn't matter. Every game, it's going to happen at least once. If this team can get out and guard, and they can switch at 4 positions.
Watson with a high arcing jumper. Here he goes again. Knocked away. Bounces to White. And Aztec ball. Here comes McDaniels. Got Mitchell ahead of the pack. Good pass. Watson open. And out of bounds to San Diego State. Now, time for our play of the game, driven by Continental Tire. Any guesses?
Which one is it? Knocking the ball away down to the other end. That is a sturdy test of whether your breakaway rims work.
I'll tell you, that's an unmanned camera, and it was still afraid as Williamson went in there. 25-point lead, loudest 2 points of the game, belonging to who else? Zion Williamson. Hasn't played a whole lot because of foul trouble. Barrett and Delorier both on the bench with 4, but it's still all Duke right now.
A little double stack low.
Bolden
Great move.
spins by Mensah and draws the foul. He'll be headed to the line for 2.
Boy, really decisive spin move by Marquise Bolden. These first 2 years, he had to battle through injury, couldn't get any rhythm going. Had a lot of good big guys he had to play with and mostly behind. But now, as a starter, he's got more minutes and is really starting to come on. He was a McDonald's All-American. Among big guys, he's got really good feet.
Sometimes tough to reconcile what it was thought a guy was or would become versus what he is right now. And he can be pretty good right now. I mean, maybe not live up to the expectations that were thought for him 2 or 3 years ago, but he can still be a really important player on this team.
Well, he is a really important player. The hard part, I think, for any player, and it doesn't matter whether it's at Duke or anywhere else, when you go play guys at Kentucky, Michigan State, you go play with other really good players. You know, sometimes, especially if you have an injury, as he did, Marquise Bolden was starting his freshman year over Harry Giles, all those guys, and then he got hurt. And that really set him back, and sometimes it's more difficult to recover.
Williamson with another steal. Goldwire and O'Connell in the backcourt right now for Duke. Nice look. Drew a crowd, found Bolden, and Bolden heading back to the free throw line.
I don't know what you say about Zion Williamson in the open court, except look out. You know that Duke has to, they've actually practiced that if he breaks the backboard, how can they get a replacement in there? I mean, his eyes are right on the rim here. What does Dan Doggett say? Put your chin on the rim? It was.
Shamari Pond's one of the most exciting and talented guards in the country. Really.
He can really score, excellent off the dribble. Another guy that can really play is Marvin Clark, who transferred into St. John's from Michigan State, playing for Tom Izzo, left-hander. And St. John's, one of the more talented teams in the Big East. And the Big East is a talented conference, although I was a little surprised what the Big Ten did to some of the Big East teams in the Gavitt games. The Big Ten way underrated going into this season. And Michigan looks like they could be, along with Michigan State and Wisconsin, the class of the league.
Yeah, Wisconsin beat Xavier. Indiana handled Marquette, beat them by about 25. And Michigan just dismantled Villanova 73-46. How about the start that the Wolverines are on? Just followed it up with wins over, I think, GW and Providence, right? John Beilein's team going to 5-0 already.
Boy, what a play by Jordan Goldwire. Right there to jump that little dribble handoff, jump right in front as the action was going toward midcourt. Jordan Goldwire was a guy that, you know, Duke, when they took him, hadn't really seen in person. They'd seen him mostly on tape. And decided, you know what, he's a good player. We need another guard. And he has worked out to be a really reliable substitute for him.
And with Trey Jones coming back from a hip injury during the summer, Jones did not play on the tour to Canada, so Goldwire got to start in all those games and, you know, played 25, 27 minutes a game up there. Four seconds on the shot clock. It'll be Hemsley to inbound for the Aztecs. McDaniels, Nathan Mensah. They got two Mensahs on the team, but they are not related. Nathan and Joel, both freshmen, both from Ghana, but not related. Banked in at the buzzer for Seiko. McConnell pulls up. Haven't said his name a whole lot. Terrific shooter. Hasn't been playing a ton of minutes this year, but another guy off the bench who's going to be important if Duke wants to get where they want to get.
A little dribble handoff action with Zion Williamson, where he went over and set that screen. And I mean, how are you going to get around Zion Williamson? When he decides to screen you, you are going to stay screened for a little while.
McConnell again. He can do that. He can really shoot it.
Yeah, he shoots it with ease. And very energetic. The next step for Alex O'Connell is just to be a more reliable off-ball defender. Just be in the right spots.
Hemsley lost it. I thought you were going to say the next step for Alex O'Connell was to settle on a hairstyle.
Yeah, well, I'm jealous of that. I've settled on mine.
Yeah, not by choice.
That was my choice.
Nearing the midway point of the second half. And Duke on its way to another huge offensive output. Spinning and finishing. Williamson again.
You just don't see guys that size do that.
You know, Williamson and Barrett, both left-handed, have an unbelievable ability to get to their left hand, even though you know they want to go that way. Hemsley, nobody got in front of him.
Everybody hugging up on their man, and when the ball's in the middle of the floor, it really eliminates weak side help. You just have to be able to guard the ball and stay in front.
In traffic, White, and a foul.
Zion Williamson got caught in the air, still was able to fit that ball through there. That's one of the impressive things about Williamson. One of the more impressive things is he's able to find people. He's a very good passer. Got a feel for the game. I mean, you don't advocate that kind of pass very often, but still, when caught in a bad spot, he can make that pass.
Only available on ESPN Plus. Earn everything. An 8-part all-access series on Duke basketball. Your chance to follow Coach K, Williamson, Barrett, and the rest of the team as they prepare for the season. As Williamson gets a seat on the bench, start your free trial of ESPN Plus now and watch all 8 episodes.
It's actually very cool. Earn everything. It's very much like Rolling with the Tide, which was awesome. And I've watched the whole thing, and still my favorite part was the yo thing.
Yeah, yo's funny.
It wasn't fun. That was my favorite part by far.
I kind of like the glass floor part of the CN Tower in Toronto too, when they were up there. That was
Of
fun.
course you take it to
Of course I
Canada.
would.
Everything's about Canada. You know, there are 10 different provinces and 3 territories.
Careful, because I'll ask you to name them.
I can.
All of them.
I can. Good cut.
And Reddish with an incredible reverse. What a feed by Jack White. You talk about length. The fact that he could get extended that far to get under the bucket and then have the English to get it in as well.
Well, it was just a, well, he's spoken English since he was born. I mean, it was a terrific cut, and when Duke has really good spacing, that opens up those cutting lanes. And anytime you overplay, you can just back cut, which he did there. Then you can come off a dribble handoff, and you're going to be open. There's so many different options. It's just a great read by Cam Reddish and an excellent pass by White.
Offensive foul on Jack White.
Take a look at Reddish. That's him there. He got Hemsley to jump the lane, and then what a finish off the glass. Goes right by Narain, gets it off the bottom part of the glass and in. Jack White loves it. And that's when you can accept. If you can do that, it's acceptable to wear white socks on the beach.
32-point lead for the Blue Devils. 8 minutes to go. Mitchell follows up his own miss, but the ball belongs to White. And here comes Goldwire. Jack White, another big game off the bench. 10 points and 7 rebounds.
I don't know if we're going to be calling those big games for Jack White much longer. It's going to be sort of the norm. He's really good.
And Barrett on the fadeaway jumper is fouled and will be at the free throw line when we come back.
Well, Dan Schulman likes to wear black socks and sandals to the beach. Cam Reddish.
All right, Matt, thank you. And we're done in 7 minutes and 43 seconds. Duke up 83-51. R.J. Barrett at the line right now for the Blue Devils. 5 in double figures for Duke today. The 4 freshmen and Jack White. And this is the kind of team they figure to have, where one day it could be Barrett, one day it could be Williamson, one day it could be Reddish. 3 of the 4 freshmen on the bench right now. I think Barrett's free throw shooting will be interesting. He's had a good day today. Missed that one, but he's a 7 for 9 from the line. But he's a guy who's going to live at the free throw line. As you look at the numbers for the 4 freshmen in this game.
Antonio Brankovic has done a really nice job in this game. Alert on the help side, able to help out on that drive and force the turnover.
Justin Robinson into the game for the first time. The former walk-on, now a scholarship player, the son of the Admiral, David Robinson.
He can shoot it. Flew in on the same plane with David Robinson. And I thought I had a tough time fitting into a seat on an airplane.
Can we tell the Admiral to get off the phone for a sec? His kid just got in the game. Unless he's trying to figure out how to. He is. He's trying to figure out how to take a picture of him. Now I know how. Oh, sideways is good.
Everybody's the same, aren't they?
That's right.
Cool. Duke has like 40 photographers here, and the parents are still taking them.
That's great.
Isn't it awesome? And what great kids the Robinsons have. Not just Justin, but Corey Robinson, played football at Notre Dame. Couldn't be a nicer kid. It's ridiculous.
Not surprisingly, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. There he is. He's into the score sheet. Hope Dad got that one. Yeah, I did that once or twice in my career, too. From the corner, long jumper, long 2 for Matt Mitchell.
But isn't it funny that with all the high-level basketball David Robinson has played, he is probably more nervous watching his kids play than he ever was as a player himself. And he's just like every other parent in that regard. It's awesome.
Robinson's got some talent. Here's the reaction. Whoa!
Isn't that great?
That's great. I didn't know he had that in him.
You know, most of these teams wind up doing this. They do testing early on, athletic testing, and you know they put the players on a treadmill and test their lung capacity, all these different things, and so it can be grueling. And Justin Robinson came out on top in all that stuff. I mean, he did an amazing job, really pushing through tired in that.
And the lead grows for the Blue Devils. San Diego State, again, they made a little dent into it very early in the first minute of the second half, but the Blue Devils have just taken it to another level ever since then. Rope is into the game, a freshman born in South Sudan. This is him, grew up in Omaha as he leaves the three short. And again, the Aztecs have some pretty intriguing freshmen. Rope is one of them. Nathan Mensah, who we've seen today, is one of them. We have not seen Joel Mensah. We may see him a little bit later on in the game, but Brian Dutcher's got some pieces to work with.
Yeah, Rope is going to be very good. You know, he's been a pleasant surprise thus far. Really long-armed, almost a 7'2" wingspan. He committed initially to Nebraska, but then took a prep year. And he's a gifted defender.
McDaniel's still in the game for the Aztecs, and remember, everybody plays 3 games in 3 days, regardless of what happens. So you lose today, all right, but you got another game tomorrow, and San Diego State's going to play Xavier tomorrow. And playing Xavier's a physical affair, you know that.
So you are forecasting the early voting.
Yes.
ESPN News reporting that is projecting Duke to be the winner.
I think I went out on a fairly solid limb on the banyan tree on that one. So, 5th foul committed by Chavin Delorier. You know, interesting with Jalen McDaniels, he's got a younger brother who's a high school senior right now. As you take a look at what's coming up, Monday Night Football, Scott Van Pelt coming up. Post-game coverage of the Chiefs and Rams. Phil Mickelson talking about the showdown with Tiger with the worst beats of the weekend. Jalen's got a younger brother, Jaden, who's, I mean, he's up there. He's like a top 10 prospect in the class of 2019. The Aztecs are in on him. They've taken good care of his older brother. He's got better. He's developed. He's also looking at some of the typical top schools. I think Kansas and Kentucky are both on his list. But boy, wouldn't San Diego State love to get another guy as talented, who knows, maybe even a little bit more, a little further along at the same age than Jalen was. Watson open, deep 3, yes. 13 for Watson.
You know, coming into this game, San Diego State had won 11 of their last 12. And this is a program that they've been in postseason 12 of the last 13 years. And 7 of the last 9 NCAA tournaments. Fake.
White with a strong drive, challenged near the rim, and the foul is going to go on to Mitchell. I don't know if it's opportunity, development, or a combination of the two, but he's just way further along than he was last year, and a much bigger part of everything that's going on with this team.
It's sort of the natural progression. It's like an old school way to go about it, where a guy came in and you worked hard every day in practice. Maybe you didn't play as much. You played behind some older players. He's just playing behind. He had been playing behind some younger phenoms, but he's had the natural progression of a really good player. He's more mature. He gets it now and he's worked harder. You know, both he and Jordan Goldwire over the summer, they were in with the coaching staff every morning at 7 o'clock. And I think the Duke coaches wanted to show both of them that, one, this is what it takes, and then two, you're getting the same attention as our quote-unquote, star players. And I think both Goldwire and Jack White responded really positively to that. One of the things that Jack White's done is he's embraced his role.
Well, his energy, and we've seen it in the early going this season, saw it on the tour in Canada as well. The nose for the ball on the offensive glass is something he's got. Maybe it's not a nose, maybe it's just hustle, but he's got an act for being where the ball is.
Okay, the ball usually finds the most energetic players. Yeah. Little handoff action, their elbow series. O'Connell got off a really good shot the last time they ran that.
No starters in the game for Duke with the size of this lead and just over 4 minutes to go. And again, 3 games in 3 days. If you can buy a few minutes here and there and save some legs for what's coming in the next couple of days, that's always a win.
Well, it's a good opportunity for guys that don't normally get bigger minutes to get big minutes. And then it also allows Williamson, Reddish, and Trey Jones Barrett to sit a little while and keep their legs a little bit fresher for the stretch run in this tournament.
And the ball battled for between White and McDaniels comes down to O'Connell. Under 4 to go. And another convincing, impressive performance by Duke against a good team from San Diego State.
Yeah, San Diego State's just not ready right now to be able to put up enough points to challenge Duke. They can defend, but they just can't score enough points.
Goldwire will be at the free throw line when we come back. Duke 3:35 away from advancing to a matchup with Auburn.
Be near the underarm of one
and
shirtless Bill Walton.
And I think the Bears saying, we're not even showing the outtakes, like the really tough stuff.
Yeah, we're not showing the inappropriate Bill Walton.
Yeah, these were the ones that got through the editorial staff and our bosses and all that. Auburn defeating Xavier in a first-round game earlier today here at the Maui Invitational. It'll be the Tigers and the Blue Devils in a semifinal tomorrow here at the Lahaina Civic Center, which is jam-packed. We talked about it in the first game. Just a great field and 8 programs with a lot of tradition. But when you look at schools like San Diego State, Iowa State, Illinois, whether they're having, by their standards, a great year or not such a good year, the tradition and the passion from the fan base is really great. I mean, you know the Orange Crush.
Sure.
You know Hilton Magic. I mean, there are great fan bases for all of these schools.
Yeah, and it's one of the great parts of the Maui Invitational is the fans show up and they're passionate, and then the setting is fantastic. Lahaina Civic Center is one of the great places to watch a basketball game. And how about the tickets for this game, for the Duke games? I mean, I was told that the tickets were good. This ticket was going for over $600 on Coconut Hub.
When did you decide that line was going to make air as the rope goes coast to coast? Was that on the plane over?
It was just now.
No,
it just came to me just now. when you watch as much Gilligan's Island as I do.
That's true.
Because Gilligan's Island, like the crew of Gilligan's Island, you know, the skipper, Marianne, the professor, they could do anything with coconuts except make a boat.
Right. Mostly the professor.
They couldn't make a boat. They could make a radio. They could make all these other things, but they couldn't make a boat.
You're dating yourself, but I'm loving it.
And that's one of the failings of television is there has never been a remake of Gilligan's Island. Like there's been Brady Bunch remakes, all these different remakes. There's never been one of Gilligan's Island. There needs to be one.
Well, if nothing, maybe not a series. How about a movie?
That's what I'm saying.
Just a 2-hour movie.
Yeah, I should have said a movie.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Here
3-hour tour, 2-hour movie. It'd be great.
Robinson.
But you probably don't know this, but the point guard for my high school basketball team, we played basketball together from 4th grade through high school, is Jim Denver. And Jim Denver's uncle, his father's brother, was Bob Denver, Gilligan.
That's awesome. Did you ever get to wear the hat? Did you ever get that close? Like,
no, but he does. When we play golf together,
Yeah.
Jim Denver still wears a bucket hat and looks remarkably like Gilligan. I just don't bring it up to him. I don't think it's proper for me to tell him in his backswing, you look just like Gilligan. Because he might turn around and say, you just look like a skipper.
That's right. And you'd lose that one. Travel on O'Connell. Brian Dutcher's got a little bit deeper into his bench as Ed Chang and Joel Mensah have both checked in.
All right, I gave you a lot of trivia in Canada. Here's some trivia for you. All right. The skipper in Gilligan's Island. What was the skipper's real name? Not the actor who played the skipper, which is Alan Hale. What was the skipper's real name in the show? It was actually uttered in the very first episode when they were listening to the radio, and they listed all of the crew that was lost at sea on that 3-hour tour.
That was
on the USS Minna.
Yeah, that was the only time it was ever mentioned?
I think it was.
All right, what is it?
Jonas Grumpy. That is the skipper's real name in the show.
Wow.
You're welcome.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
How did we get here?
I came by a plane.
Michael Sohikish, a walk-on out of San Diego, checks in now for the Aztecs. Mike Buckmeyer's in the game as well for Duke. And it'll be Duke and Auburn in a semifinal matchup. The Aztecs, they'll have to regroup. They got another game coming. They will take on Xavier tomorrow afternoon.
Michael Sohikish, one of the great stories. He was a manager before getting in uniform, being able to suit up as a player now. got his jersey last season. He majors in civil engineering.
Final minute, jump stop, O'Connell had it knocked away. And here comes Sohikish. Let's see if maybe he can get a shot up.
He could be the second former manager to score in a game this week. Grant Kersey at Virginia, who was a manager that Tony Bennett gave a uniform to, knocked down to 3 in a game. I think it was against Coppin State. Oh, should have taken that one.
That was a cool moment for Virginia.
It was awesome.
Yeah. Seiko draws the foul.
Nobody works harder than managers. They are the hardest working people in show business.
And you're the champion of their cause these days, and they love you for it.
Yeah, and I don't even get like extra Gatorade during the games.
Arizona student managers off the bus, leading the Wildcats in for their game with Iowa State as the basketball continues here in Lahaina. Brandon Williams, a very talented freshman guard, a guy to keep an eye on for Arizona.
Brandon Williams and also Brandon Randolph, who may be the best pro prospect of the two, at least right now. And there are a lot of pro scouts that are here to watch this tournament. There are a bunch of prospects. And there's also some nice beaches that they may be there.
Yeah. And maybe some golf being played.
This is the one where, you know, you see more general managers here than anything, because they decide on who goes where. Look, I'll take Maui. You guys, how about the rest of you? You go to Grand Rapids.
Yeah.
You go to Syracuse.
A run out for a rope if he can corral it. And good hustle. Robinson may have gotten a piece of it as the game comes to an end. The #1 ranked team in the nation, the Duke Blue Devils, beat San Diego State 90-64 here today to advance into the semifinals, where we should have a very interesting game against Bruce Pearl's Auburn Tigers, who needed overtime to beat Xavier 88-79. 2 more games coming tonight. Going to be a lot of fun. 90-64, the final. Already underway college basketball continues. St. John's taking on Cal in the GotPrint.com Legends Classic. For Jay Billis, I'm Dan Shulman. Thanks for watching the Nettie and Walton tonight. We'll see you.